Hey there, guys, gals, fans, and pals. Your buddy JohnMegacycle here, and another episode of Outpost Infinity Siege coming at you. I got it right this time. Yay! A cookie for me. Yeah, so at this point, I think this might be like episode 11 of like our revamped series. As a quick refresher, I decided to not do every single episode and every single play of this game. I did like really abridged versions by myself or with Paladin Shotgun. One thing that I wanted to do, no, that's the wrong button. One of the things I wanted to do is go through Outpost building. And I briefly touched on this like in an episode, like when I showed off, I think version 3 or whatever. So this is going to be about, I'd say, a half hour, 45 minutes, somewhere in there. We're going to go through some of the building techniques that I picked up along the way. This is not an all-inclusive list, but these are just a couple of things that have really helped me design bases. We're going to go through like our first 5 base revisions, and we'll do like the little automated, not automated, but like the picture mode, what's it called? Oh, the show-off. Right. So, first things first, when playing this game, I realized I was going to be redoing my base a lot, and I wanted to do like fresh. So one of the things I did is I created a brand new layout. Every time I upgraded, I called it version 0. And what version 0 is exactly this. There's no frills, there's nothing here. Zoom out. This just has the actual core tower, and it has just little utility tiles. This way, if I wanted a brand new thing, I just copy this guy and we're done. Like, little stuff like this saves me. It's only like a couple of minutes, but like it's a ton of mouse clicks. And I've played Dune 2, the original. If I can minimize a couple hundred mouse clicks, I'm all for it. This is one of the things that I wanted to do very quickly, and this saves me a lot of time. Anytime I want to just try something new, I load it up. So a really good example of this, and we're going to jump a little bit ahead, is, let's see, I think I've got a test layout. What I was attempting to do with this layout was trying to build like a load balancer with auto loaders, and it didn't work the way I wanted to. But this was nice. Like, I loaded it up, and yeah, it doesn't matter. But what I was trying to do here with an autoloader, just testing, is if I could get the advanced autoloader to enjoy balanced advanced automakers. And this doesn't work really the way I was hoping. There's no real X-ray mode to show you. But this was kind of the best I could do. What I found at the current version of the game is the conveyor belts are kind of iffy based on momentum. I don't really know how to explain it. Like, if it's going too fast and you have a conveyor belt pointing in a different direction, sometimes it'll ignore the direction and just be like, well, I live here now. Which is weird. So this didn't actually work the way I hoped, but being able to workshop little stuff like this makes that test area worthwhile. And this is also right when they added the triangular tiles, these 45-degree ones. So I wanted to test that out and see if I could build like a load balancer. It doesn't work the way it should, or the way I'm assuming it should, but it was cool to experiment with. So that's that. I keep hitting escape too much. Oh, freaking Russin Dussin. Okay, right back to it. So what I've done is, what's really helped me organize my outposts is I've broken down them into versions. Realistically, whenever I play a game like this, or TerraTech, or anything that's going to go under constant changes, I usually build it into a version mark system. So you might recognize it like a major revision and a minor revision. So version 1.1, version 1.2, version 1.3. The first number respects the main revision, right? The major release. And the dot and whatever, all the little changes afterward. Now, I didn't do that with this one because I thought I'd have a ton, but I broke it down into major revisions, and these represent large enough changes to the base that I'm like, you know what, start over. We unlocked a ton of new crap, start over. So this is my base version 1, and we'll do the show off, and then we'll walk through it. Alright, so it'll just cycle through all that forever and ever. When I got to this level, this is about halfway through the game, I think, is when I unlocked CIWSs, maybe like a third of the way through, something like that. And this was my first, like, okay, you know what, this works out really nice, I think it's time to re-up and do something new. So the main core of this is no different than really the initial base. The initial base that you get is a main stairs right in the middle next to the core. I didn't move the core tower, I didn't have a ton of room. And also, I built to my limit. So imagine this being back like five, what is it, ATP levels or whatever? So think of it like that. So I built within my area, but the door was here. I removed the door. I instead made it free flow, so that way a player could come in. I also built 90-degree angles, so that way a spare, like a rocket. If I imagine a rocket flying in any direction, you couldn't really easily hit the core tower. A rocket could fly through, could hit this panel, but I made it a little bit of a buffer zone there. But I found that design much better than having the door. The door was just, oh my god, annoying. The main infrastructure down here, yeah, this is when I just got battery packs. And I don't think I have anything other than... Oh, I do have the big material storage. Oh, nice. Okay. Aside from that, I've got some generators stacked. There's not really a lot to say here. A couple of healing stations, a dismantler, an assembler. Really bare bones stuff. This is also when I first got the cargo drone. And you can see my building style is very raw, right? I'm still learning about the game. I'm still trying to figure it out. This is all some autoloaders. I only have the 2, but I tried to dense up as much as I possibly could. I don't know if this is when I started to use the whole range thing. I did, okay. So, 20 mils. Yeah, machine guns do everything. The 30 mils. 30 mils do large and massive. Do you do mediums? You do mediums, okay. So I tried to mix and match. This is before I messed with range, really. But I did mess with the types. I think you just do missiles. Large, massive missile. Yep, that's perfectly fine. Now, the CIWS also work very, very well against light units, which we'll see later. And yeah, I didn't really understand the power transference thing, so I've got some power outages here. Power outages on a wall means they get less armor. Yeah, so 900 to 1200, this is 1400. 900, 700, well, I'm just going to assume I understand what that does. This is version 1, it was very functional. I did not change much. All I did from a functional perspective was just pan out a little bit more. So, pull it out another square, add more stuff, another square, add more stuff. Not a lot of inspiration here, but functional, right? I like to think I'm fairly pragmatic. So when it comes to it, functional, iterative change is what I try to do. So that's version 1. I didn't change squat, so you can just give up on that. Version 2 was the next real big revision. So what I tried to do here was something I like to call layering, or cake layers is how I think of them. But let's go ahead and do the show off. And then we'll tear this one up. Man, I love that whole show-off mode. It's so dope. It's so dope. Okay, now, this was a really big change. Let's go from the innards outside. On the inside, we've got our deciphers, we've got our converters. Nothing really fancy to show off here. I kept the same dual ladder design. Stairs. Dual stairs design. I always want to make sure we've got areas of redundancy, so that's why I did that. Way more generators, or battery packs are called. Way more material storage. This one has twice the core power, as you can see. a lot of stuff is going on inside. But there's nothing really much to show off inside. I used kind of a different style with the front door. Again, I'm using door. The front door. I'm using the door accent switch for no reason. I'm using the same. I don't want a door. I don't want something to interact with. If I got to get in the base, I have to go. Like, I just go, right? So quick jump is really easy. Adds a little bit of cover, but also there is a wall between the opening and the actual core tower. So something like that works out really well. Still allows for a player to just slide right over left or right to get upstairs. And let's start talking about that upstairs, shall we? Much more density, as you can see. Still sticking mostly with machine guns to deal with light fire, light enemies. Also added the spring barriers, added a barrier all the way around. And the problem I found pretty quickly, let's just tear this apart a little bit, is if I have the turrets on the ground like this, I found that it was impossible for them to fire at stuff like directly in front of them. It's like, here, take a look at this, right? Can you see the turret? I can't. The Scorpions can't either if they're coming at kneecapping range. So I found this to be fairly ineffective. So what I did is I did some layering like this. Now you might be saying, hey John, how does that work? Like, how do you raise it one square without using stairs? Like, you're transferring power clearly. How does that work? Well, I'll show you. Let's see here. Can I go down a level? There we go. So there's the secret in the sauce. This is back when resources were really, really tight, so I couldn't add stairs everywhere. But effectively, there's stairs that connect each layer up. And what that does is it transfers all that power. And transferring power means the defenses are more effective, the turrets will actually fire, and everything works out pretty well. So from an architectural perspective, let's just look at it one more time. All I'm doing is just adding a short stair, and then these are barriers. And then I add the tiles right on top, and layer this out. So I can get different, like I call them layers. I think of like a cake, right? Layered cake. Thin sheets that add up to, you can think of it like, I'm Greek, so it's phyllo dough, right? Obviously that's very, very thin, but like you can build little different stuff on stuff, right? Sidebar, if the developers for this game ever come out with like a Lego set, I'm buying it. I do notice there's little Outpost dioramas or whatever scattered around, and those are really, really cute. Anyway, let's get out of X-ray mode. What was also iterative about this is using some of these small tiles. And the small tiles, again, allow for power transference without causing too much trouble, and also spacing. This worked out really nice from a spacing perspective. Oh, where'd it go? Thank you. Let's see here. Much more density. Yep, much more with the autoloaders. This also added smart mortars, which I don't think I have... Did I have logic for this? Yeah, this is when we start messing with range. So I did maximum range, large units, and that really helped against the tanks. The mortar tanks. That really helped out with that. We don't have, what are they called? Advanced auto loaders or advanced ammo makers yet. So at this stage, it was just a bunch of ammo makers, a bunch of grenades, 2 cargo drones, like a really significant step up. And again, this spring barrier added a lot of extra defense. Even though it's only 300 hit points, it actually really helps out. So this acted as a really nice cover. So that's really version 2. I was really happy with this layering thing. It added a lot more density and this defense, and without adding a ton more space. But that's level 2. On to level 3. Let's go ahead and just kick this off right away. Alright, good stuff. Let's go ahead and pop into this guy. This felt like another revolutionary change as opposed to an evolutionary change. And that's terminology that I've heard thrown about a bit. If you're unfamiliar, an evolutionary change is like the next logical step forward. A revolutionary change changes everything, like the whole business. Like, it's a drastic change, right? What's a good example? If you're playing a video game, like, oh, if you liked the first version, you got to play the second one, right? It's like, whatever. If it's an evolutionary change, maybe like the user interface is cleaned up, combat is a little easier, mod integration is easier, but it's like mostly just the first game a little bit better. A revolutionary one is a completely different approach to the genre, right? So, this was really a revolutionary change because it added so much more. Let's kind of piece this apart a little bit, right? More machine guns, more turrets. If we go into the edit mode here, you can see a bit more of this stair pillar thing. I'll just go down the list. You can see exactly what I do. So in all these layers again, I added way more stairs because I could afford it this time. And this added much more support. The problem is, if you take out the supports, either your base is going to be, or your layers are going to be unpowered, or it'll just fall because there's no support, right? So adding this added much more resiliency to the table. This one's a little more complex, so let's start from the bottom again. Again, same kind of underground opening going in. All of the business stuff, and let's see here, we got 2 autoloaders this time per side. Far more mortars, more deciphers. Same thing on this side. 2 autoloaders, more smart mortars. All the infrastructure and businesses back here, which is all of the batteries and such. Can I go up one? Not really easily, but this is all the batteries back here. We have 2 of the advanced Guardian Fabricators, 2 missile silos. We also have... Let's see, hold on. Was there anything else inside I needed to care about? I don't think so. The insides are kind of the least interesting bit for me. The outside, that's where that comes in. So I tried to get autoloaders literally everywhere. I could afford it. I got that going on. We got the Aegis panel because that was critical when dealing with the rail acolytes. I can never get the word memorized in my apostle, right? I don't know why. I don't know why I can't remember it. There's some parts of my brain I'll just never understand why I can't remember a thing. It's just gonna be like, oh yeah, the guy with the gun, like a rail gun, and he's a guy. I'm gonna call him a chickadee. Yeah, okay. So the rail chickadees show up. I needed that. No artillery yet. You might notice no artillery yet. I tried to almost push as far as I could because I wanted to see how effective my base could be sans artillery. The answer is meh. Not very. You need artillery. This was also the first time I got an advanced automaker, and I was like, just spill it on the ground. It's totally fine. I'm not going to balance anything because I got that near the end of this setup. But what makes this setup unique is not only the cataphract in the back, but I'm going to go all the way up. This one had much more room in it for the user. Now, if you remember the first base, the ground floor was pretty tight on the inside. Not so much here. I tried to really open it up so I could have... I think this game takes up to 4 players, right? Not that I would play with 4 people, but like I could. There'd be plenty of room and plenty of stuff to do. There wouldn't be a ton of crowding for the one snipe spot kind of thing. So ammo makers, more of these supports with the small stairs. The cataphract, yep. All that's nice and clean. I also tried to build little positions where people could sit and snipe and still be protected. So like right here, there's a neat little cubby. If you remember in the version 2, there are a few others. Yeah, another little spot here for a player to be at. The only thing I didn't really care about this was this felt so exposed to get to the autoloaders. So what I wanted to do is I want to change that eventually. I don't know if I do in the next 2 revisions because I'm already working on revision 6. I don't think I'm going to show that off. I think we'll show that off later. While I've been showing this whole system, I think that's probably enough for 3. Again, I also incorporated all of the different... 0. All of the different ranges, and the CIWSs do mostly missiles, etc., etc. So let's say I want to build that support wall. I should want to walk you through it. The enemy direction is down below, so I'm going to put in an armored wall. Let's put in an Aegis panel, and I'll just walk you through how to do this in case it's not clear. So all I'm going to do... Okay, there we go. Short stairs, and we can do an armored wall like this. Hello? There we go. Like that, and then I'm going to throw a tile down, right? And that sends the power. So I'm just going to keep doing this. I'm going to go all the way to the top. Now what you're going to get, if you do just like this, is you're going to get an invalid. And the invalid because we need a barrier at each of these spots to act as the back support. But when it comes to facing the enemy, we have the full support of the Aegis panel, right? So that's all good. Now we do it like this because if I were to just do... Oh, let's move over a little bit. Get out here. If I just do this... No power. Stairs are what transfer power, but if I link it, we have power now because it's feeding through this. And this adds the most amount of protection that I can think of without adding a ton of unnecessary bulk. Now, the other way, if you need support to do this, is you could do this with a pillar. The problem with pillars is kind of the same deal. They don't transfer power. Only stairs transfer power, right? That's kind of the dilly-dilly. So, that's kind of important. So this little building technique is really great. You could also do something similar with door frames. I never cared for the door frame. I don't know why. I don't care for the door frames. But you could do something similar with the door frames. I don't think I ever got this to work. I'm going to be really honest about it. So does that do? Huh, that does work. And then can I put an armored wall on this? Yeah, see this doesn't seem bad. What it does seem is a little more exposed. I don't know. But this effectively gets the same job done as that. I like this one better, but this is a cheaper alternative. So you can do the same with the door frame. That's cool. I just learned that right now. There's also some other jiggery-pokery. I don't know if they might have removed this functionality, but these pillars also have mount points. The same as the utility wall. I think what you do with this... Yeah, I think I got it. This might do. Hold on, let's give it a try. These have mount points on the side, and the reason why mount points are important is because you can mount your damage amplifiers and your luring stations, whatever those are called. But I always wanted to try this. Can I... Not that. Yeah, this. You can mount... Oh. That's actually pretty dope. Okay. I wasn't able to get the pillars to line up correctly last time, so I thought, oh, that must have been changed in a patch. But yeah, so you can mount this with the same square footage as a utility wall. So here's a utility wall with the same 4 mount points. Where are we at? Small generators. So just like that. Same square footage, 4 times more power, right? So little building techniques like this really, really help. Under normal circumstances, you'd have to do something like this to try to get the same amount of power, but... Pillar. Just to demonstrate the point, really. What should happen is the game should be like, nah, man, those mount points are already used, but it super doesn't. So there's that. That reduces waste space. Can I put... No. I don't think... let me get 1 material storage. The little guy. It's purple? Oh yeah, you can just load that with regular materials. Interesting. So there's a lot of really neat ways you can kind of dense up space like that pretty easily. So I'm gonna go ahead and give up on that, but I wanted to at least demonstrate that straight up how I do. V4. Yep. Let's go ahead and take a show off on this one. Alright, good stuff. One of the things that I did want to mention is this is the closest I could get to a Megacycle blue. I would love custom paint schemes. Honestly, like, give me a color wheel, give me 3 or 4 color slots or whatever it is, like overlay, interlay, detail, or something, like whatever, and just let me pick my own colors. I'd Megacycle blue the crap out of it. So, it might be very obvious that this is a scale down from the V3. Realistically, this one didn't have nearly as much height. I wanted to really go high with the V3, but I also felt I was kind of unsatisfied because if I need to get to any specific part of the base, if I'm on the ground floor and I gotta run to the 3rd floor, that kind of sucks. So I needed to scale down and modernize, I guess is the way I'm selling this one. Scaling down and modernizing. That's what's going on. So, when it really comes down to it, this one, as you can see without any real showing off whatsoever, mortars. I went nuts on mortars. I super duper did. Why? The tanks. The tanks were becoming like a bit of the main problem that I had to deal with. Honestly, playing with either Mammoth Squad or Tiger Squad, dealing with the Apostles? Yes, dealing with the Chicky-Doos isn't that big of a deal. What is a bigger deal, though, are the tanks. Because the tanks were just hemorrhaging my ammunition. The CIWSs were doing a fantastic job blocking, but we weren't killing. So all of these should be probably set to medium, large, extra range, right? Large and massive, max range, yeah. I just need to shred tank units. Yeah, that's all that is. These front ones, this is the first time I use the CIWSs for light arms. So these are all probably small, large, massive, max range kind of a thing. I had to add large units to these because the 20 mils weren't doing enough. Oddly enough, they were not carrying as much as I was hoping. This base also has a very V-form cut. This is a V formation from MechWarrior. And that's what I wanted to kind of model the base off of. So it's got a very V line to it. I believe this is V form. The other way is the wedge, if we did it the opposite of the V. But realistically, yeah, this one's very straightforward. Advanced autoloaders this time. I think I also have advanced ammo makers this time. This one I kind of scaled a little differently. I actually didn't armor up the sides. I think with some of the changes I made, I didn't feel like I needed to. Upgrading the machine guns to the CIWSs really helped. Much of this back stuff did not change. This was a very evolutionary change. This really, I just chopped the top off and redid some of the layout. But yeah, this is the first time we go from machine gun fire to CIWS fire. It proved much, much, much more effective, especially in the Infinity Siege, where it's swarms and swarms and swarms of little stuff. This is also the first base that incorporated the this is 105mm, not pre-war. Pimp out your gun. For the CIWSs up here, these are the ones that predicate against, that's not the right word. that murder missiles. So these are just missiles. They do nothing else. 3 is almost enough to deal with Kronos. I think I needed 4 to do it 100% safely, but there's such a missile swarm with Kronos. 3 is like the bare minimum I was comfortable with. But I was really happy with the layout with support, tons of extra room as I wanted, a lot more ammo makers, manual type, the cataphract in the back. I really like the cataphract in the back kind of a thing. I want to also do like launch ramps as if it's like a Gundam or something flying off of like a battleship or something. Because a lot of this reminds me of like, what? The Naked Soul from Kill la Kill, or the super large ships, the Bebop from Cowboy Bebop or whatever, and being able to launch vehicles from it, like a carrier or anything. Like, that's what really jingles my jangles. It makes me feel, you know, that's the cool anime sci-fi stuff I look at. Let's see. Aside from this, I think this is also the first time I really incorporate the advanced automakers into my build. So this was really simple. Oh, also, we didn't do the inside. Turrets on the inside. This was really cut, dry, simple. All the battery packs, all the everything is stashed back there. But I put turrets in here because I was doing a lot of runs where it's the... They're not called Novas. What are they called? Oh, the Nebulas. The Nebulas fall from the sky, and you have to fight them. And they sometimes get inside the base, and if they're inside the base, mildly problematic. So these turrets, if I could just stand in here, if it's getting too crazy out there, the turrets make sure we get a full secure internal, right? And then here are the ammo makers. It's very simple. 2 of them, conveyor belt, pure magic, right? No big deal. The 2 on each side were enough for what I needed. That's not a forever thing. We're going to need way more eventually, but that worked out pretty well. Now that I talked about this a bunch, I don't know if there's anything else here I need to discuss about V4. V4 didn't change all too much. The addition to the artillery was probably the biggest deal, in addition to the CIWS and the smart mortar add-ons. Okay, last but not least, let's talk about version 5. Alright, so this kind of goes back and dabbles a little bit more with T3, with how T3 did things. You probably noticed the addition of the 2 Hellfire turrets on each corner. These are all... Oh, hello. These are also set to do with all the light stuff. Now, I also noticed there were times where the 30 mils weren't clearing as much as I'd like. So I also need them to deal with the other stuff, but I put small units on high priority, and then also massives. But these do not deal with missiles. For the missile defense, I've got, these 3 back here, which is kind of the same thing. 3 is like the bare minimum. Oh, I also got the 1 up here. These also missile? These are everything but missile, just in case. These 4 are like the bare minimum I'm comfortable with for missile prevention. You might have also noticed a ton more of these smart mortars. So I did these a little differently. These ones in front. These ones... Right, I'll just highlight them real quick. These right here will deal with large and massive. Now, these are maximum range, farthest we can go. These, however, are more close quarter combat. The range is minimum, but can deal with everything. And the reason for that is, in the later runs of the Infinity, what happens is we just can't deal with it's just too much light and medium garbage. So this is supposed to help with that a little bit. 5,000 is not a lot of range, and if I look at the range of the Hellfire, it's at 12,000. So the Hellfire has more than enough opportunity to deal with small units, and if it can't, that's what these are supposed to be for. That little kind of layering helps out a bunch. Let's go. Oh, I kind of screwed up the order on how we're doing this, but let's jump in. Well, let's finish the outside, I guess, this time. Way more smart mortars. I tried to really dense up as much as I could get per smart mortar. This is also the addition of the dual 105 artillery. More missiles, more machine guns in the back. Same Vanguard cataphract. I really like the Vanguard. The heavy artillery shoulder pads, awesome. Advanced Guardian Fabbies, yep, a little simple on that. Same armor. Again, still using the CIWS for small fire, small types. Added some autoloaders here so we could autoload ammunition into the artillery. So it's really set it and forget it, Ron Popeil style, right? Anything else out here? Still kind of tried to build a cubby or two for people to hang out in if they wanted to be in combat, but not really be in combat, if you get my drift. Let's take a look on that inside. Let's go to the very bottom. That's too far. Batteries, 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 storage. That looks like part of the artillery. It is part of the artillery. Interesting that that's showing up. Some small technical stuff here. Some pillars. Oh, yep, ammo makers. We just doubled up on this. This wasn't anything super fancy. Oop. Yep, there we go. 4 ammo makers, same turrets on the inside. Anything else really to say about this? I don't think so. Stairs, generators, converters. I tried to keep, again, the floor plan really open. Really open if I could. Pillar in the middle. Anything else really of note? I don't think there's anything like super critical that I did crazy different other than the Hellfires and the better artillery for this one. That might be really it. Yep, you can see this is still the same double short stair setup. Yep, real easy, real easy. Aside from that, I think that kind of wraps it up. I don't think I have anything really else to show for this episode. I guess while we're here, I might as well show you my ideas for version 6. This is probably the first time that I'm going to have... I have all the tech. So version 6 is the point where I have all the technology unlocked, and I'll give you a quick tour of what I'm thinking of. I wanted to do something as dense as I possibly could manage. So what I've got here at the very bottom floor are CIWSs. Then I got 30 mil on the next floor, and then I have CIWSs again. What this does is this puts a very flat... I'm using as much space as I possibly can. We're not doing a pyramid thing anymore. So very, very similarly in all the other builds I've had is very pyramid theme, right? Really big, flat piece on the bottom, and then slightly smaller piece on top, slightly smaller piece on top, etc., etc., etc. So this works out really neat by maximizing all the damage I possibly can with trying to maximize space. Now, I didn't do any of the math. Are the Hellfires like 10 times better than CIWS? Maybe. But I wanted to try something like this. On the inside, and this is going to look a little confusing, but we got the 1 advanced autoloader. I've got 3 missile silos. I've got 5 smart mortars on each side. I think I also have 2 healing grenade launchers, because it kind of doesn't matter where those go. Those shoot straight up and then arc. So that doesn't much matter. For ammo production, give you a peek on that. So right here I've got a small wall of storage, and the ammo producers are right here. So I got a little series of 2 and 2. Real easy. Comes down, feeds into that guy. So 4 is about what I need to keep the ammo going. I haven't had any luck with spaghetti setups. Paladin Shotgun had a much better luck and run of that than I did, but I have not had the most amount of luck. So this is one quadrant of the setup. This is the same thing over here, so I effectively mirrored it, and I would love a mirror capability. But also same thing here with the storage. This has 3 ammo producers. There's less enemies that come from each side, but there still are a lot. So I might turn like this guy into a utility wall, but this was my prototype for this side. Lights would be amazing. I don't know why the game is so darn dark, but whatever. It's all good. So this is the kind of idea I had, and then I wanted to build this like more of a carrier style. So I was thinking something like building out. It's probably under modular, isn't it? Yeah. Building like 1 or 2 mech deployment things. Like this or something. And then just use this as like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 kind of thing. You know, like kind of deploy them out. But I haven't found a layout that works. And I really wish you could rebuild the cataphracts on site. Like if you lose a cataphract, hey man, 500 materials and 2 minutes or something, and boom, we can rebuild you one. That would be really cool. Anyway, that's really it. That's all I have. So, yeah. I hope maybe this gave you some ideas on how to lay out your own base, or maybe share some ideas with me or whatever. But that's all the progressions from the bare minimum start all the way to what I'm currently working on. So, thanks a lot for joining me. My name is JohnMegacycle, and I hope to catch you next time. Hey there, guys, gals, fans, and pals. Thanks for checking out my video. I also want to take a moment to thank all my supporters and donators, and if you'd like to join up with me and game with my crew, all the information to get connected is in the description below. Thanks again, and I hope to catch you next time.